Hello class, this is Patrick Riley. A lot of people in our nation believe the sky is falling, America's best days are behind us, and the world as we know it is ending. It is understandable for some people to feel that way in this age of vitriolic media, loss of morals, the upheaval of the social order, and distance from religion. 245 years ago, when they signed the Declaration of Independence, our founding fathers could not have predicted the present situation. Still, they were painfully aware that democracies are fragile things. I am confident that we will weather this age of turmoil, hate, and propaganda. I have faith in America. Democracy is indeed a fragile creature, and we need to be reminded of that fact from time to time. This age will not pull us apart, instead it will pull us together. I found myself drawn to chapter 5, What Does God Require of Us, and Daniel Dreisbach's book, Reading the Bible with the Founding Fathers. John Adams and Thomas Jefferson's quotes could have been taken out of a newspaper from today. Jefferson said, "A democracy is nothing more than mob rule, where 51% of the people may take away the rights of the other 49. And John Adams said, "Remember, democracy never lasts long. It soon wastes, exhausts, and murders itself. There never was a democracy yet that did not commit suicide." Dreisbach begins his chapter with a quote from Micah 6:8. "He has shown you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? But to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." He goes on to say that many founding fathers were drawn to this passage, and chapter 5 explores why they were drawn to it. George Washington takes a sentence from Micah 6:8 in a circular to the states. Washington says for Americans, to do justice and love mercy. In another article talking about Washington talking about his retirement, in Daniel Dreisbach 2007 article titled "The Vine and Fig Tree in George Washington's Letters, Reflections on a Biblical Motif in the Literature of American Founding Era," Washington is quoted as saying, one of his favorites from Micah 4:4, "Everyone will sit under their own vine and under their own fig tree, and no one will make them afraid, for the Lord Almighty has spoken." And Micah 4:3 talks about beating swords into plowshares. On the ship Arabella in 1630, John Winthrop quoted Micah, and in The Age of Reason, 1794, Thomas Paine followed suit. Winthrop said, "To do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with God." This was a speech he gave shortly before they landed in the New World. And Thomas Paine said, "Doing justice, loving mercy, and endeavoring to make our fellow creatures happy." What did the Founding Fathers find appealing about Micah 6:8? First, the Founders believed that a self-governing people must be a virtuous and self-controlled people. Second, an opinion shared by many in the founding generations was that a nation must be virtuous and righteous if it is to be stable, prosperous, and tranquil, a nation blessed by Almighty God. Micah warned the Israelites of pending destructions due to their breaking their covenant with God. And Micah said the only thing that the Israel could do to make it right would be act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with God. And this is from the final part of chapter 5. What does God require of the nation? And Dreisbach says, there were Americans in the founding era, as there are today, who believed that America, like Israel of old, was God's chosen nation, i.e. a new Israel. And George Duffield, in a speech that he gave on Thanksgiving Day in 1783, said that we must do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with our God. And that was also from Micah 6:8. There were members of the founding generation who believed that this biblical text provides guidance for men and nations that aspire to righteousness. Some founders recognized in this passage a call to national virtue. In his final passage in chapter 5, Dreisbach says, "The message of Micah 6:8, applicable to men and nations, spoke powerfully to the children of Israel when uttered by the prophet Micah 2.5 millennia ago, and it resonated with pious, patriotic Americans in the founding era. It was a message Americans 200 years ago thought was vital to their prosperity and happiness as a nation. Accordingly, statesmen and polemicists of the founding period wove its timeless instructions into the political rhetoric of the new nation." In conclusion, Daniel Dreisbach pointed out in chapter 5 of his book how important Micah 6:8 was to the founding fathers. Thank you.